Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Carter Hour. What I'm doing today is I'm actually going to clean out my throttle body on the 2012 Chevrolet Impala. Now, it comes with this big cover on there, and basically what it is it's held down by like snap bolts, more or less. And as I turn the cover around, you can see that there's little rubber grommets that hold on to these little snap-on studs, and you have to take the oil cap off completely to get this thing off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to place this to the side, and I will wipe it off after I'm done. Now it looks like, and I've never done this car before, it looks like we have to take a few items off here, and in order, because I got to get this entire boot out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just disconnect this. You squeeze the two tabs there, and that should come right off for you. And then also this other one's probably going to have to come off too. I don't exactly know what this one goes to. If this is the sure don't make them easy to come off. There we go. Perfect. Go ahead and kind of move this to the side right there. That's a stiff tube, so you're not going to be able to flex it very much. I'm going to start by removing the bottom side where the airbox is. This is only applicable to 2012 and 2013 Chevrolet Impalas. They're different on the 2011s because they have different engines. I'm going to go ahead and remove the boot, and that's what the boot looks like inside. I'm going to go ahead and set that to the side, and it looks like our throttle body definitely could use a nice cleaning. So I'm going to get a toothbrush, and I'm going to try to bring you guys in here a little closer. Alright, so I couldn't find a toothbrush. I had one at one time for this, but I'm actually just going to wipe it. And it had some oil and grime in there, as you can see right there. And these drive-by wires are really hard to do because you could actually probably put you know, like a brick on the accelerator, turn on your car, but So what we're doing here is simply, the idle air control and PCV valve. This is actually the PCV valve. Get recycled back in. The emissions from the engine oil get cycled back in through the air intake to be burned off. And what happens is, after a while, it builds up deposits within the throttle body, causes poor gas mileage, and there we go. So what our attempt is to break up all those deposits, because after a while the sensors inside there can give you bad readings, which then will in turn make your car run not so good. Also in here you can see that it's been dumping oil in there, which I don't know, I might even need to take it to the dealership because I've never seen this amount of oil in any car that I've ever owned. But then again, it could just be normal. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a spray out as well. We'll get this thing cleaned up. It's going to be a pretty tight fit in here, so just be aware of that. But after you get everything all lined up and back to where you need it to be, it simply gets into place. Again, this instructional is only for 2012 and 2013s. I haven't worked on a 2011, so I don't know exactly if it would be applicable to that model year. It might be. I know this is a different engine for 2012. So. You don't have to crank the crap out of these, just snug. We'll reconnect everything the way it should be, with the PCV valve going on first, and then our hard pipe, which looks like a bypass vacuum, and that is back on. It goes in there in place. We'll just put the cover back on. We'll give it a few minutes to let it soak in, and then we'll give her a start. Put this cover back on. It's just held in place by those metal snap studs. I think those would be the appropriate name for it. Just place it back over where it needs to go. Snap back in place. Put your oil cap back on, and she is good to go. Okay, so let's review here. We had to, in order to clean the throttle body out of the 2012 or 2013 Chevy Impala, you first have to remove the engine cover. You do that by taking the oil cap off and then pulling up. You'll have some resistance, but it'll eventually let go, because those are only pressure fitted, so they're able to snap off when you go ahead and pry up on the cover. I would do it probably from both sides. And then you have to remove the oil cap in order to do that as well. Just lay it to the side, and then when you get the cover off, put it back on. After that, you have to remove the, it looks like it's the idle air control vacuum line. You have to remove that. That's a thick line. It's not flexible, so it allows you just enough movement to move it up to the top of the throttle body to lay it there. Also, you have to remove the PCV valve, and you just do that by squeezing the two tabs, the two blue tabs. Pulls right off. And then the first way you want to take this off is you want to take it off from the throttle body and then pull it off from the air box. So we're going to go ahead and let it sit there for a few minutes. Well, it kind of breaks up all that carbon, and then hopefully that'll pull it through the engine and burn it right off, and then we'll have a nice clean intake so that the sensors stay nice and clean. And the reason why this is really important, especially I know of a couple of people with 2006 and plus Ford Mustangs, especially with the 4.6 liter GT motor, the 4.6 liter dual overhead cam. After a while, the carbon will build up in there so bad that the car will not run right. It will stall out. It will not run right. So essentially, you do the air intake cleaner, or the throttle body cleaner, which I'll show you what I use. This is what I use to clean the throttle body and air intake out. You can use the throttle body and carburetor cleaner as well. It doesn't have to be CRC. This just happened to be on sale. It can be, you know, your store brand. It can be an off brand. It doesn't matter. They all do pretty well of a job. So hopefully this will clean it out. Also, you should do the seafoam maybe once or twice a year, depending on how you drive and where you drive. You know, if you're stop and go city all the time, you should do seafoaming more often. If you're on a highway, you can do less often. So I do a combination of both. So I try to kind of break it down in the middle. All right, let's go ahead and give it a start and see what happens. Looks like it's running pretty well. When you first do this, you don't want to apply, in my experience anyways, you don't want to apply any accelerator. It will take a little bit to crank, but just let it do it on its own. Let the fuel injection, the computer system, do everything on its own to get that engine started, because it knows how to compensate for that. And then, you know, once, I suggest doing this in a cold engine, and this car hasn't been run today yet, other than backing it out of the garage here. I went ahead and did it on a cold engine, so that, you know, if you're spraying that cold fluid in there, you don't want it to cause it to crack the intake or anything that, you know, parts may be hot on the engine. So I would suggest doing it on a cold engine and letting it run for a little bit, and then kind of revving it a little bit to get all that crap pulled into the chamber and burned off, so that your chamber is now clean. But I'll tell you, I think the engine's actually running smoother. I haven't done this to this car yet. It's got 21,000 miles. I usually do it every 12. but I decided not to do it until today, and it seems like it's running perfectly. In fact, I know when I used to burn ethanol, I'll burn ethanol every once in a while, sometimes when it's a lot cheaper than gasoline, and this engine sometimes idles up and down on the ethanol or the E85, and so generally it seems like it's running pretty well. Pretty satisfied, but definitely do not want to floor it when you're starting it. You definitely want to leave the accelerator alone, just let it do its thing, because that's flammable stuff, and it could have an adverse effect. It could blow off the intake of your engine if you're not careful. I've never seen it happen before, but there's a chance for everything. So anyways, I appreciate all my subscribers and viewers of my videos. Appreciate you guys watching, and please feel free to, if you have a request or, comment, please leave it at the bottom of this video. And again, it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon in August. I believe it's the 25th of August, 2013. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you for, again, stopping by the Carter Hour, and appreciate you subscribing if you feel like it. All right, thanks, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.